All right, guys, here we go. Coach Jim here with Tower 26, bringing you your Hermosa Beach Triathlon race preparation talk, getting you guys ready to race. Like I said, my name is Jim Lubinsky. I'm the head coach of Tower 26 Triathlon. With me also is our head of our South Bay contingent, Coach Chris O'Driscoll, Tower 26 coach, Chris O'Driscoll. Chris, how you doing?
Good. How you doing, Jim?
Oh, I'm excited. This excites me. Hermosa Beach is near and dear to my heart, so I'm excited to bring you guys this presentation. Also with us is Coach Megan Milgard, our Chief Operating Officer, if you will. Coach Megan, how you doing?
Doing great, Coach Jim. Thanks so much for everyone to be here, and really looking forward to this course presentation, Jim.
All right, we've had between the three of us, we've had hundreds, if not thousands, of triathlon finishes. We've all finished the Hermosa Beach Triathlon several times, and we've coached thousands and thousands of athletes, successful triathlon finishes over the years. So hopefully you guys get some nuggets out of this one. We're going to bring up our keynote presentation here shortly, but I just want to throw it out there. If you guys have questions, anything you want to go over the course of this presentation, just put it into the chat, and Coach Megan will monitor those questions and bring them up throughout the conversation. So don't hesitate. If you have the question, someone else has that same question, and we want to make sure we go over as much as we can here and get those questions answered. Because as Dave said when he just came on, this is his first triathlon, and we know it's a lot of your guys' first triathlon. And no question is off limits. Anything is on the table, because like I said, if you have the question, most other people have that same question. So let me bring up the keynote presentation. I'm going to cover a lot of things here, so I want to make sure that we get after it right away. Let's see, bring up the initial page. Let me play it. All right, as I said, it's the Hermosa Beach Triathlon, brought to you guys by Tower 26. We are the presenting sponsor of this race. Like I said, if you guys have any questions, just write it into the chat. And if you can, make sure you're muted right now. And then if we need to unmute you to clarify a question, we will unmute you. But we are doing this live, but we're also bringing this to Hermosa Beach Triathlon social media channels. So let's make sure you guys are muted as we go through here, and Coach Megan will keep an eye on that as well. If it's on your mind, reach out and ask. All right, so first thing I want to bring up, we are having a triathlon clinic this Saturday. Coach Chris down in the South Bay at El Segundo Wiseburn Aquatic Center is leading a triathlon clinic to get your feet wet, if you will. It's designed to get you guys to the start line fit, confident, and performance prepared. Designed for the Hermosa Beach Triathlon. So he's going to be specifically talking about the Hermosa Beach Triathlon throughout the clinic, get you guys as prepared as you can be. He will be leading you guys through. He'll have some help coaches with him as well, helping you guys through swim, bike, run transition skills. Be 7 a.m. You'll have an introduction, 45 to 50 minutes in the pool, focusing on race day swimming skills that you are going to use in that open ocean. Then you'll set up a transition area, talk about specific techniques, followed by a short bike and run. You'll have some Q&A time. Bring your swim gear, race day attire, including your wetsuit if you plan on wearing one. Free race belt and goo gels will be provided by Triathlon Lab, who is another sponsor of the Hermosa Beach Triathlon. And we will put that link into the chat if you guys want to sign up. It's $85 for Saturday morning, at least 3 hours. Coach Chris, anything else to say about that clinic before we get into the details of the race? You're muted. See, you stay muted. Unmute. All right, Coach Chris will figure out how to unmute. What do you got?
No, I got it. So yeah, it's going to be probably 45, 50 minutes of swimming. We're going to actually swim the distance for the triathlon. Going to put our wetsuits on. We're going to learn how to take a wetsuit off in transition. Going to set up a transition area. We're going to do a short talk on how to set up the transition. We're going to go for an easy 2 or 3 mile run afterwards. Then we're going to have some Q&As. What to do race day, what to eat race day, how to fuel a couple of days beforehand. So it'll be very, very interesting. If you haven't done a triathlon, highly recommend.
Informational, and Chris has been racing triathlon since 1923, so the guy knows the stuff. So thanks, Chris.
23.
1920, he was one of the first. All right, so a little info there. Like I said, Coach Megan will put that in the chat, that link if you're interested. Also, we have every weekend in July, we have a clinic. On Saturday, you swim. Sunday, swim in the pool. Sunday, you swim in the open ocean, 7 to 8 a.m. on Saturdays at Wiseburn Aquatic Center also. And then Sundays, 7:30 to 9, Coach Chris runs an open water swim session in South Redondo at Torrance Beach. So we'll put that link in there as well. I just want to give you guys a heads up on some options you have to get race ready before your actual race day comes. Because no matter how much I tell you guys in this talk, until you actually do it for yourself and feel it for yourself, you can't really apply what we're talking about here until you do it for yourself. So good options there. So first thing I want to do with you guys is go over a race day checklist, some equipment you might need for the triathlon or that you're going to need for the triathlon. So like I said, if you have questions on any of this stuff, bring it up now. A lot of stuff is available at Triathlon Lab for you to go buy, check out, and try on. Make sure you feel it, make sure it fits you correctly before you buy it. So you can go there and check it out. So on the swim, some of the stuff you're going to need a triathlon kit. If you guys can make sure you're muted, let's make sure you're muted. A triathlon kit is something you wear under your wetsuit. You wear from beginning to end. You wear it in the swim, you wear it in the bike, you wear it in the run. You're not changing in the transition area from the swim to the bike and then from the bike to the run. You just wear the same thing. So one thing that we wear in a triathlon is a triathlon kit. It can be either 2-piece shorts and a top or just a 1-piece. And the difference between a triathlon kit and a typical cycling kit is the chamois, the thing that protects your undercarriage on the bike, is a lot thinner and doesn't absorb the amount of water that a typical cycling chamois absorbs. You can move in it a lot better from swimming, biking, and running as opposed to just biking. So you get a little bit of protection there, but it's not going to weigh you down. It's not like wearing a wet diaper. You're going to want to bring a couple sets of goggles. Typically, race morning, it's sunny, so you want a tinted pair of goggles. But if you get that marine layer comes in and it causes a little bit of darkness, you want a clear set of goggles as well. That's gonna not darken your sight line as much. So you want to have the option to either wear a tinted pair or a clear pair of goggles. You're going to bring a brightly colored towel to leave by your bike in the transition area, which we're going to go over shortly, but it'll help you identify your bike. When you go into the transition area and there's 1,000 bikes in there of all the participants, a brightly colored towel will help you identify where your bike is. Wetsuit, it's not a long swim, it's a half-mile swim, but when those temperatures are in the low to mid 60s, the wetsuit is going to help insulate you, but it's also going to help you with buoyancy. The difference between a triathlon wetsuit and a surfing wetsuit, the triathlon wetsuit actually has little air bubbles between the inner layer and the outer layer that help you float and find that buoyancy. So especially if you're someone who's not as comfortable in the water, you're going to want to wear a wetsuit to help you with buoyancy and just help you feel a little more comfortable, because if you just relax in a wetsuit in the water, you're just going to stay at the top. It's like wearing a flotation device, a life preserver, if you will. So that'll help you be more comfortable and performance prepared for that one. Vaseline, you want to put on anywhere around your neckline, anywhere that might rub under your either triathlon kit or your wetsuit. It just helps you stay a little more comfortable as you're swimming, biking, and running. And then toilet paper, you want to be prepared because before the race, when the nerves are firing, you're going to have to go to the outhouse. Sometimes the outhouse is out of toilet paper. So usually that's something I keep in my transition bag. Bike, you're going to want your bike, obviously. You're going to need a helmet. That's the first thing you want to make sure that you have is a helmet. Everyone is required to wear a helmet throughout the race. On the bike, at least, you don't have to wear a helmet in the swim and the run. Cycling shoes, cycling socks. If you let's make sure you guys are muted. If you usually train with socks, you're going to want to wear socks on the bike. You're going to wear socks on the run. And if you're comfortable clipping into your bike, if that's something you do regularly, you're going to want to make sure you have your cycling shoes. A lot of you might just be wearing regular gym shoes and have platform pedals. That's fine too. You want to wear a pair of sunglasses. That keeps you obviously safer. It protects your eyes from the wind and anything that might be flying through the air, and keeps you from squinting, which keeps your face relaxed and keeps the stress out of your body. Water bottle, make sure you have your hydration. Nutrition, if you're going to take a gel throughout the course of the race, usually you're going to want to take one on the bike and maybe one at the beginning of the run. You're going to have that with you. You want to be prepared in case you get a flat tire. You're going to want to know how to change a flat tire, maybe practice doing that once before race day. So you want your flat tire kit, and then you can bring a pump. Make sure your tires are pumped up accordingly based on what your specific tires need. So you want to make sure that you have your pump, and you can pump up your tires before you come to the race, but make sure that that's on your checklist that you've done and you're not riding around with flat tires. Running, pretty basic. All you need is your shoes. You need a race belt, which if you're going to Chris's clinic on Saturday, Triathlon Lab's going to give you race belts. Otherwise, on the Saturday before the race, when you go check in, they will have race belts available. And that's just something that you put your number on. So you're not making a pinhole in your brand new triathlon kit. You just put your number on the race bell that goes around your race, and it's very easy to put on as you're running out of the second transition area going onto your run. You want to wear a hat or a visor, like I said, something to protect your eyes and your face from that sun, keep you from grimacing. And then you want to keep, like I said, your nutrition. If you are someone who's a very salty sweater, you might want to take a salt pill or a gel when you run out of transition, just to stay on top of those carbohydrates to get the most out of your performance. Miscellaneous things you might need: a training device like your Garmin watch, keep your heart rate strapped so you can pay attention to your effort out there. Body Glide or Vaseline, where I spoke about that. Maybe throw on some sunscreen before the race actually starts. Vaseline, I said that already. Electrical tape, maybe a little something in case you have something that feels a little loose before the race, you can tape it down. And then a change of clothes for after the race when you're all wet and sandy from finishing in that sand. You might want to change into something a little more comfortable. This is a race kit. This is something you can buy at Triathlon Lab. They have either a 2-piece race kit or the 1-piece race kit. It's just preference, really doesn't make a difference which one you wear, but it's just something that you can wear from under your wetsuit. Take the wetsuit off, you wear it on the bike, jump off your bike, throw on your running shoes, and you wear it on the run from beginning to end. Megan, do we have any questions anybody has on equipment that athletes might need for the race?
Yes, Jim, we do. So Jennifer was at the swim clinic last week and was more comfortable without a wetsuit. Any reason you would advise against that for the triathlon?
As long as you've been in the ocean with no wetsuit and you're comfortable in those temperatures, because it is on the chillier side. The Pacific Ocean isn't the balmy Caribbean, right? It's the low 60s. If you've been in there and you think you can handle a half mile without a wetsuit on, and you're comfortable swimming a half mile without a wetsuit, yeah, go for it. It's fine. It's not completely necessary, and no one says you have to wear a wetsuit, but it's definitely something that you want to get in the water and try before you go out there and say, you know, I'm fine doing it. Then you get 100 yards out and you're shivering because you're way too cold from not wearing a wetsuit. So it's something you want to try before race day. Same thing with the wetsuit. You don't want to just go and wear a wetsuit for the first time on race day. Go buy a wetsuit at Triathlon Lab and then just go out there on race day and try it for the first time. You want to go down there and try the wetsuit out. Make sure you can move in it correctly. Make sure nothing's rubbing. If there's somewhere rubbing, you know where to put the Vaseline. So either way, you want to try it before race day.
Yeah, Jim, nothing new on race day. And it's a quarter of a mile. So it's typically a pretty short swim. So it's up to your discretion if you want to use the wetsuit, if you're comfortable in it, like Coach Jim just said. So make sure that you've practiced in a wetsuit out in open water and that you're comfortable.
Oh, did I say a half mile? I meant a quarter mile. I'm sorry.
That's right.
Jennifer, if you're not going to wear a wetsuit, what are you going to do the race in? A swimsuit? That can be done, but it's kind of awkward. So you need to think about that. You need to think about a tri-suit, or what are you going to swim in, or what are you going to bike in your bathing suit? So that's.
So can you elaborate a little bit on that, Coach Chris? So in terms of
you're
swimming in a tri-suit versus a swimsuit versus a wetsuit.
Well, the tri-suit that Jim just showed you a picture of the other day has padding on the undercarriage. It's really uncomfortable to ride a bike and to run in your swimsuit. I mean, it can be done. We have athletes that do it, but I'm just saying, it's a first time triathlon. I think you want to have a little bit of comfort. So.
And if you're swimming in one of these kits, that's fine. You can swim in one of these kits.
Yeah, one of these kits are fine.
And this is an entry-level race for a lot of you guys who don't want to go spend hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
So if you swim in a bathing suit and you want to run out and transition and then put on a pair of shorts and go ride your comfortable bike in it, that's fine too. But however you're most comfortable, we just want to make sure that you have practiced what you're going to do and you know what you're going to do, because we want you to have the best experience possible and be as comfortable as you can be swimming, biking, or running, as opposed to kind of just stabbing in the dark and not knowing how it's going to feel. So if you want to swim in your bathing suit, come out, throw on a pair of shorts and the shirt and transition, go ride and run in that pair of shorts and shirt. There's no nudity allowed in the transition area, but you can throw it over your bathing suit and go ride. But that's always an option too. We're just giving you best practices that's going to give you the best experience throughout the day.
Yep. So it looks like, Jen, you have a tri-suit, so you will be all set. You can swim in that. The one thing that you want to be careful of with tri-suits is too many pockets, right? That'll be a little bit of a parachute.
Yeah.
But
So
racing, you won't have to change.
Yeah, if it's a short race and you're just feeling it out, there are pockets that hold gel and hold things that are going to cause a little bit of a drag in your swim. So if you were going to go do a half Ironman or an Ironman, you'd have to think about that and get a swim skin. If it's a warmer race, or that's where you definitely want to wear a wetsuit, because it's going to keep that drag down, and it's not going to be like you're pulling around a ton of water from the pockets in those suits. But for the quarter-mile swim that the race is, it's not going to make a huge difference for you, Jen. Anything else?
All right. Yeah, thanks, coaches. Yes, question from Jesse. Can we bring our music and earpods? So
No.
Jesse, the answer to that is no. I'm sorry, USA Triathlon rules that you cannot wear earpods on the swim, bike, or run.
Yeah, that's from our risk management specialist, Coach Megan. Right, Coach Megan?
And also USA Triathlon. But yes, just reinforcing that just from a safety perspective and the rules that are laid out already, unfortunately, no.
And the reasoning is you're around 1,000 other people. You need to be aware and tuned in to where you're moving and how they're moving. And we can't have you distracted by, when people are going to 20, 25 miles an hour on the bike. If you're distracted with a pair of AirPods, there's a chance that an accident could happen. We just need you totally dialed into where you are at that present time and not being distracted by anything else. Anything else, Meg?
That's it. Well, let's move on.
Let's move on. All right. So the race weekend schedule. Saturday, there's the pre-race packet pickup the day before the race, August 13th at Triathlon Lab. That starts at 12 p.m. There will be triathlon clinics. I'll be doing talks. Coach Chris will be doing talks at Triathlon Lab, detailing the course, answering questions, last minute questions athletes might have. Those go from 1 to 4 p.m. So if you want to go pick up your packet sometime between 1 and 4, you can catch some information, ask a question if you have it. So that's 12 p.m. Closes at 4 p.m. So if you want to save yourself some stress and save yourself some anxiety, get there on Saturday, go to Triathlon Lab, check in. Anything last minute you need, whether it's nutrition, goggles, anything like that, you can pick it up there and save yourself some stress, because you can check in on race morning, but there's going to be longer lines. And by the time you're setting up your transition, hitting the porta potty, just getting your bearings, it just adds another layer of stress having to check in. So if you can do all that on Saturday, go to Triathlon Lab, check in. If you have a USAT card, make sure you bring that with a photo ID. If you're not an annual member, they'll have 1 day signups there if you haven't signed up already online. No one can pick up your packet for you. You have to pick it up for yourself. Sunday, 5:15 a.m. that packet pickup opens. If you didn't do it on Saturday, you can check in as early as 5:15 on Sunday. Transition area opens as well, body marking. So everyone has a number, a race number. We put that race number on your shoulders and on your calf, just so we know that you are part of our race and you're just not some guy out there doing loops on the course. So you have to get body marked. Like I said, the transition area opens 6:30 a.m. That packet pickup closes and any race day registrations close. 6:45 a.m. we will do a pre-race instruction chat. You'll be in the transition area getting all your last minute things dialed in. At the stage right by the transition area, we will do a pre-race chat as well as the national anthem. Transition area closes at 6:50. Everybody's got to be out of transition by 6:50. So you have to have all your things done, everything done at your bike, at your transition area by 6:50 and headed down to the beach where the wave starts begin at 7 a.m. Now the transition area won't open up again until 9 a.m. The reasoning is because people are going to be racing this whole time through. If you finish the race at 8 a.m., there's still going to be people coming in from the bike going out on the run, and we don't want you to interfere with their race. So the transition won't open again until 9. That time you can go in and get your bike and get all your stuff, gather it up. The awards will be 9:45. You can stand on top of the podium. I know everybody on this call will be on top of that podium, and all the bikes need to be out of transition by 10:15 a.m. So that's the race weekend schedule in a nutshell. That's all available on the Hermosa Triathlon website as well. If you click on that, you'll see that whole schedule so you can plan accordingly. Any questions on the schedule, Meg?
Not on the schedule, Jim, but I do have a kind of a transition question here. Is there any general guidance about putting on socks before the bike and wearing them through the run, as opposed to waiting until the run to put on the socks, or not wearing any socks at all?
Well, first off, it's however you train. If you train on the bike with socks, if you train on the run with socks, wear socks, right? Guidance is you put on socks every day. It's no different. There's going to be no big deal about you having sand on your feet, because the time you run through the beach onto the pavement, you get to your transition area, most of that sand has pretty much left your feet. And if there's anything left, you just give it a quick swipe your hand, sit down, put your socks on, put your bike shoes on, and then you go out on the bike. But if you're training in socks, wear socks on race day. A blister could cause a horrible performance because it forces you to back down on the effort and maybe even walk, because there's nothing like the pain of a blister. So if you're used to socks, wear socks. Here's the wave start times. As you see, everyone will have a different wave start time based on your age and based on your gender. So, and based on what you're racing. As you see, there's a mountain bike division. So everyone has a different start time. You'll go off at the start time on the dot. 7 on the dot, you'll see all those red caps will go off at check-in. You'll get a cap, and you'll be with all those people with that same color cap. So if you're in a white cap and you're with a bunch of people with royal blue, you know you're going off at the wrong time. So go off at the correct time, because that's when your time starts. I'm not sure yet if the timers will have a timing mat on the beach. Last year they did, but if they don't have it, your race starts with your wave. So if you're in a silver cap and you go with neon green, your race is starting at 7:18, and you're not getting credit for starting 30 minutes later. So make sure you start with your wave. Make sure all the caps around you are that same wave color, and so you get that correct timing. Now, there probably will be a timing mat on the beach like there was last year, but just in case, and to be safe, start with your time. So know when you check in what time your wave starts. But no matter when your wave starts, you have to be out of transition at 6:50 a.m. So even neon green athletes, they can't dilly-dally in transition, because we don't want you getting in the way of those red caps who are starting at 7 a.m. And a lot of those faster guys will be done with a quarter mile in. Meg, how fast can you do a quarter mile in? You'll be done with a quarter mile in 4 minutes with the wetsuit on. So we don't want you getting in those guys' way. Question on wave starts, anyone? Are we good? I think we're good.
One question here from Charlene. Is there a timeout for the race? Since the award time is at 9:45, what happens if I can't finish by that time? Charlene, we'll ask the race directors that question. We're just giving a course overview so we can get back to you.
Yeah, I think as long as you're on the course, fighting your way to the finish, I'm just speaking off the top of my head, I think you should be fine. Just the awards start at 9:45, but that doesn't mean you have to be done by 9:45. So, but we can ask.
Charlene, go ahead and DM me your email, and we can make sure we can follow up on that finish time for you. But with this direction from Coach Jim and Coach Chris, you will be sure to make it by the finish time.
Exactly. We're going to go through the course here in a minute. You're going to have no questions in your mind as to how to execute. All right. So Saturday, the day before the race, just a quick tutorial on how to prepare the day before. So you want to wake up, eat a good breakfast, eat a full breakfast the day before the race. We're not trying to lose weight the day before a race. We want to stay topped off with a carbohydrate reserves. In a short race like this, where your effort is up and you're trying to get the most out of your performance, carbohydrates are going to be the main source of fuel. So when you guys hear the word carbohydrate loading, it doesn't mean you need to eat 3 pounds of pasta. It's just the day before the race. You just need to be a little more dominant in the carbohydrate macronutrient as opposed to proteins and fats. You want to do a little bit of light training, nothing too crazy, because remember, we're racing on Sunday. We don't want to leave it all out there on Saturday. So just do a little bit something, maybe an easy bike, maybe an easy run, maybe go down the ocean, do an easy swim just to get comfortable, but nothing too crazy. You want to make sure we save most of our energy for that, the effort we're going to have to put on Sunday. And this goes for anybody who wants to finish first, all the way to the person who's going to be, not the fastest in the race. So it's just some stuff you want to take note of and make sure you approach this in the right ways, just so you have your best experience. Don't spend a ton of time on your feet on Saturday. Just get off your feet and save your energy for Sunday. Make sure you're eating a dinner. You don't want to be guzzling water the day before a race. Just a nice balanced dinner. Sip on an electrolyte drink throughout the day, something like Noon or Zim tablets that they're going to have at the pre-race expo. Make sure you're going to eat, a balanced dinner the night before a race. Now, something that endurance sport athletes need is salt. Salt is electrolytes. This keeps you from cramping. A lot of people say we want a low sodium diet. Endurance athletes need more sodium in their diet because the sodium helps you from cramping. In a nutshell, that's what it does. So make sure you stay on top of your salt the day before the race. Add a little extra salt to your food. And like I said, if you have Noon or those Zim tablets, you can put that in your water throughout the day. Make sure you go to sleep early. As it is going to be, you're going to be nervous and you're probably going to be a little restless the night before the race. So shut it down early, get off your screens. And even if you don't think you're going to sleep at all, just lay there and relax. Speaking from a ton of experience, every single night before a race, I have these pre-race nerves going, but I always shut it down early and you end up sleeping more than you think you did. Let's make
Yeah,
sure-
Jim, and you know what? 2 nights before is always, I think, what I've heard in my professional career over the years. 2 nights before is the night that you really, really need to get some good sleep. If you are nervous a little bit and don't have a great sleep the direct night before, it's okay. Don't be hard on yourself. And you touched on a few things, Jim. Nothing new on race day, and especially getting into the ocean. So you want to make sure that you're actually training and getting in some good water time. Don't make race day. Hold on, let me mute somebody here if I can.
Make sure I'm muted again.
Don't make race day your very first time in the ocean. Make sure that you're training and getting prepared. We have plenty of opportunities with Tower 26 to help you out.
So you can be performance prepared. Well said, Meg. All right, so Sunday race day, make sure you give yourself plenty of time before the race. Don't wake up last minute, roll out the door. So you're all crazy with everything. Give yourself enough time. You've put a lot of time into this. You've trained for it. You've thought about it for a long time. So wake up early, give yourself plenty of time to get out the door. Make sure you eat early. So if you're taking off, if you're leaving it, if your race starts at 7 a.m., you want to eat 2 to 2.5 hours before the race, right? So you want to eat nice and early, let your body digest that food so you don't start swimming and you feel it coming up your throat because you ate right before you jumped in the water. So you want to eat easily digested carbohydrates. For example, some oatmeal with a scoop of jam and a scoop of peanut butter in it is a great breakfast 2 hours before the race. It'll keep you satiated and give you fuel to fuel throughout that race because it's a very, it's a slow burning meal. It's not something that you're just going to fly right through and you're going to be hungry again 2 hours later. Bring a banana, something that holds you over about an hour before the race. You can eat a banana. Potassium in there helps you, not cramp. You can sip on electrolytes. Like I said, one of those Noon or Zims, you can sip on that throughout the morning. Don't be guzzling water because that's just going to sit in your stomach and slosh around, but just sip on that out of a water bottle. Once you get to the race venue, you can find an outhouse. You can go to the bathroom, do your duty, and then you literally do your duty. And then you can go find air for your tires if you haven't put it in there already. Go to your transition area, get all that set up. When you set up your transition area, we'll go over this in 1 second, just a brief overview. Let's just bring what you need. Don't bring everything in the kitchen sink that you might need the transition area. Like I said, there's 1,000 bikes, you're running in, you're going from that vertical to horizontal position, running up the beach. Head's gonna be going a million miles an hour. You wanna have exactly what you need there and nothing else. You're gonna need, like we said in the checklist, your bike shoes, your helmet, your sunglasses, your bike. That's about it. You grab it, you go, come back. All you have for the run is your run shoes, your race belt, pair of sunglasses, maybe a visor. You grab that and you go. So you don't want to bring too much when you're setting up transition. When you get to the transition area, there's a bike out area, there's a run out area, and there's a swim in area. So when you run from the beach, there's where are you going to run into the transition area, right? That's the swim in. You're going to go to your transition rack, you're going to grab your bike. Then you have to pay attention. Where's the bike out? Where am I going to take? What path am I going to take to get out of the transition area to the bike out? Then when I come back into the transition area off the bike, what path am I going to take after I go change into my running shoes to go to the run? It's not all the same exit. You come in the swim one area, you leave the bike the other area, and you leave the run another area. So when you get to your transition area in the morning, pay attention to all these entries and exits. It sounds more complicated than it is. It'll be very self-explanatory, and there'll be tons of volunteers showing you where you need to go and telling you where you need to go. But if you know it already because you paid attention when you set up your bike, you're going to be one step ahead of the competition. Get to the swim start early. Like I said, you don't have to wait until 6:50 to leave the transition area. You can head down there, you can jump in the water, and you can hear the pre-race talk from the beach. So if you head down there a little early and you start warming up in the water, when you're ready from your transition area, you can head down there early and not just wait to the last minute. Transition setup. So this is just an example how your transition will look. There will be bike racks. As you see, this bike is racked by the seat. You're going to rack your bike by the seat. If it won't fit, if you're a little taller, you can rack it by the brake the brake levers as well from the front. So there's a couple ways there. But as you see, this athlete has a towel on the ground, has the bike shoes and the bike helmet first. That's the way he's gonna, or she is gonna use it. They're gonna run in from the swim, take their wetsuit off, grab their helmet, put on their shoes, grab their bike, go ride, come in, rack their bike in that same exact spot, take off their shoes, take off their helmet, put on their running shoes, run it race belt, and they're gonna run out of transition. So this is just a very basic example of what you need in transition, and that's all you need. You don't need anything else other than what you're gonna use. Like I said, we spoke about what you need on the bike, your brightly colored towel, your run gear. Now you can find your bike, like I said, there's gonna be rack after rack after rack after rack. If you know your bike is even with a palm tree that's outside of transition, when you're running in from the swim or running in from the bike, you can identify where your bike is by that big palm tree, or Sharkies. My bike's right next to the entrance of Sharkies, or whatever it is. You know your bike is close to that stagnant object that's not going to move. You don't want to say, okay, I know that guy's standing right next to my bike, so when I come up from the swim, I'm going to look for that guy because that guy's going to move, right? So you want something like a big palm tree that's not going to move, that you can say, okay, I know my bike rack is in alignment with that palm tree. So when I run in from the swim, I'm gonna find that palm tree, and then that's gonna help me run to my bike. Because like I said, when you go from vertical to horizontal, you're running up the beach, your blood pressure is up and down and up and down. You're all chaotic. You got to put on your bike shoes and your helmet. One thing that's gonna help you is find something that's gonna help you identify where your bike is amongst 1,000 bikes. Like I said, know the routes that you're gonna take to the bike out and to the swim in. And don't worry about the sand on your feet. Like I said, it won't be an issue if you need to take a quick swipe with your hand, but you don't need buckets of water or anything like that in your transition area. This is something Chris is going to go over this weekend, and you're going to set up your own transition area at the clinic. If you can't make it to the clinic, make sure you try it on your own and set it up just so you know how you're going to do it. Any questions there, Meg?
No, sir.
All right. So the swim course. I put I don't know why I have a half mile on this thing. It's a quarter-mile swim. It's one loop. All it is you swim out 125 yards, make a right-hand turn, you swim across 150 yards, you make another right-hand turn, and you swim back 125 yards to the shore. So it's a very basic box course. It's outlined there in yellow, 2 right-hand turns just south of the pier. It's an ocean entry, ocean exit. So that's something you're going to be comfortable with before you get into the ocean. It's something that we're going to go over on the next slide. We'll talk about how to get through the water and through those waves. It's a long beach run in the transition. So when you get out of the water, you have to run all the way across the beach into the transition area. Last year, they did have a showers shooting down on the athletes to help rinse you off some salt water, but it's not something you want to, take your Dial soap and rub off in. It's just something to squirt you and give you a little bit of a refresher from the salt water. But take your time getting up the beach. Like I said, you might be a little discombobulated. You get your wits about you about halfway up the beach, but it is an incline up. So just keep moving forward, and you will settle down as you run up the beach. But it's a pretty straightforward swim. Nothing much to it. It's just 2 right-hand turns, and like I said, ocean entry, ocean exit. Here's some things to keep in mind. When you enter the water, make sure you dive under the waves, right? Now, you don't want to dive just below the surface of the wave because it's still going to shoot you back. You want to dive under the water enough that you can touch the bottom and you can feel the wave pass over your head and your body. Once you feel it pass over your body, then you pop up and you keep swimming forward, right? You see another wave coming, you dive under it again, feel the water, feel the bottom, let the wave pass over you. Should be 1, 2, maybe 3 waves before you get through the break. Once you get through that break zone, then you can start swimming to that first buoy, make your right-hand turn, swim across, make that second right-hand turn. Now, there's going to be about 100 athletes per wave, so it's going to be crowded, but you're at the beach. So you can, if you're not comfortable around a bunch of people, you can run to the left and get away from the crowd a little bit. You might have to swim a little further back to the buoy to the right, but as long as you're comfortable and you're safe and you're within your comfort zone on that, I'd rather you find a little open space and a little open water so you're comfortable, as opposed to fight a huge crowd and it's going to make you nervous. So pay attention to your wave start time. Only go with your wave. Another thing you got to remember is relax, guys. The water's cold. You might be in a new wetsuit. There's a bunch of people around you. There's a good chance, not a good chance, there's a chance you could hyperventilate as you are executing your entry to the water. If that happens, it just means you're forgetting to breathe. You're not relaxing, you're tensing up. You just have to relax And if you do start to hyperventilate, there's a ton of lifeguards around. They can help you, but your day's not over. Your breathing will come into you regulate your breathing again, and then you can keep moving forward and have a good race. But you might lose your breath for a second. Like I said, just because you hyperventilate doesn't mean your race is over. And if you have a wetsuit on, you're gonna you float, you're fine. You just need to relax and start swimming easy again. Once you get through the break, find that nice relaxed stroke. Make sure you sight those buoys. There's, like I said, there's one right-hand turn buoy, 125 in, and then another right-hand turn buoy, 150 across. So sight the buoys, and there's going to be a good crowd at the buoys. So if you need to take them a little wider, do that. But just know, the quickest distance between 2 points is a straight line. So the tighter you can cut those buoys, the more time you're going to save. After you make that second right-hand turn, now you're going to be coming in. Those waves are going to be coming from behind you. So every time you breathe, you look under your armpit to make sure a wave isn't coming and going to crash on your head and tumble you. Now, this is a possibility in the ocean, something you have to prepare for. So if you're breathing and looking under your armpit, under your right armpit if you're right-hand breather, under your left armpit if you're left-hand breather, and you see a wave coming, you stop, you face the wave just as you did when you were going out into the water. You dive under the wave, let it pass over you, and then you turn back towards the shore and keep swimming again. Every wave you see, you stop, you face it, you dive under it, and then you turn around and you go back towards the shore. But don't try and ride the wave if it's not something you're comfortable with. Make sure you're sighting those waves, being very patient, getting back in, and not letting them tumble you where it's kicking your legs over your head and causing you to scorpion. So take your time, be patient with that. Like I said, when you get out of the water, if you're a little wobbly, just keep moving forward. If you need to walk up the beach, walk up the beach. If you can run up the beach, eventually start running up the beach, but your body does settle down in time and you're fine. Now, we do have our open water swim workouts every Sunday at South Redondo Beach in Torrance at 7:30 a.m. We'd like you to be comfortable in the water before attending those. So you might have to go to a pool swim for us to check you out before you go into our ocean swim. So write us contact@tower26.com so we can verify your ability to swim in the water before you show up at that 7:30 a.m. swim with Coach Chris in South Redondo. Like I said, go to Triathlon Lab for wetsuits or any other gear you need. Meg, any questions on the swim?
Yeah, definitely. With Tower 26, we require folks to come for a swim assessment in the pool to make sure that you're ready for open water. So please do contact at tower26.com if you would like an assessment, and jump into some of our clinics so we can help you get ready for open water.
Exactly. Nothing new on race day. Let's practice it so you can have your best experience possible. Because we need you to be triathletes for life, not just one and done. All right, so when you run in the transition, you're going to find that big object. You're going to find your bike rack based on where you found that stagnant object. Make it snappy. I mean, after every single race, somebody tells me, oh, if only my transition would have been 30 seconds faster. Don't have that excuse at the end. Make sure you're making the most out of that free time in transition. Get to your bike, put on your bike gear, grab your bike, and go. As you're running up the beach and you start to feel better, you can start taking your wetsuit off. You can bring it down to your waist. That way you don't have to sit in transition and take the whole wetsuit down. So if you can start taking the wetsuit off as you're running up the beach, that's going to give you a leg up. Like I said, if you need to wear socks on the bike, take the time, sit down, put those socks on, put on your helmet right after you get to your bike. One of the best things to do so you don't forget is put on that helmet, put on your sunglasses, put on your shoes, grab your bike. Now there's a mount line right outside of the bike out. So you're going to grab your bike and you don't just get on it and start riding through transition. You grab your bike and you walk or you run easy to the mount line that's right after the bike out. So you can't get on your bike until you pass that mount line. We don't want anybody riding their bike in transition. If you want to go to Malibu Triathlon, you see these guys riding their bike through transition because they didn't pay attention to our pre-race talk. All you guys, you'll know, you just grab your bike, you run or you walk with your bike to that mountain line, you cross the mountain line outside of transition, and then you get on your bike and you start riding on the race course. You can't mount your bike before that mountain line. Like I said, you need to run or walk to the mountain line. Did I make that clear? Is that clear? I think that's pretty clear. All right, transition run, done. Now you get onto the bike course. It's a 10-mile course. It's a clockwise bike course loop. You go out to the loop. You go up Pier Avenue, around that loop 3 times. 3 times, not 2, not 1, 3 times for a total of 10 miles. You make that last loop, then you make the left back on the Pier Avenue into the transition area. Now here's a heads up on some things. you go up here out of transition right off the bat. So you want to make sure your gearing on your bike is in one of the easier gears so you can spin up that hill easier. If it's in a big, heavy gear, then you're gonna have a tough time right out of transition with no momentum going up that Pier Avenue hill. So when you rack your bike on your transition rack, make sure it's in an easier gear to go take it out of transition and get up that hill without momentum to help you spin up the hill and get warmed up without having to stomp on those pedals. You make a tight right-hand turn each loop. At the end side of each loop, there's a tight right-hand turn. Make sure you take it nice and slow and easy. It could be really congested. Make sure you always stay right. If you're gonna pass somebody, you pull out, you look over your left shoulder, pass, look over your right shoulder, make sure it's clear pass, but you're always trying to stay to the right of the course, never taking up that left lane. That left lane is people who want to pass each other, faster athletes who are coming through. We just want to make sure you're safe at all times, so try and stay right as much as possible. Upon completing that third loop, like I said, you're gonna make the left-hand turn, come down Pier Avenue. Notice I said down Pier Avenue because one of the things race director Michael Epstein said is every year there's people flying down Pier Avenue and they don't pay attention to how quickly transition area comes up on them, and they come in and they crash because they're going way too fast. Because like when you came out of transition at the mount line, you come in the transition and there's a dismount line that you have to get off your bike before the dismount line and then run your bike into the transition area and rack it to put on your running shoes. So you have to, when you're coming down Pier Avenue, you have to stay on the brakes, make sure you're not screaming down into the transition area, having to slam on your brakes at the last second where you're gonna go right over the front of your handlebars. Take it easy going down Pier Avenue. You build up speed really quick. So use those brakes to flutter the brakes as you're going down so you can ease off the speed to that dismount line and get off without having to give all those photographers a moment with you on the ground, picking up the pieces. So take it slow down Pier Avenue, take your time going down Pier Avenue, and let's be safe beginning to end. Any questions on the bike course, Meg?
Yes. Do we have to stop at any stop signs? And are there
no
police on the, and are there, yeah, go ahead for the part
No
one.
stop signs. No, there's no stop signs at all on the course. It's a wide open course. So
Are there police on the bike course?
there'll be police out there making sure there's no cars coming onto the course. Yes, it is. There will be police and traffic direction personnel making sure that the course is closed to only cyclists. So there's not going to be traffic in your lane that's going to be taking up your space. So
And police are required at any intersection that has a light. So
Yeah.
at a minimum. Yep.
Safe and close.
And then Greg asked, where do we park? So Greg, we're gonna have to get back to you on that. We'll get with the race directors and see where the best place is for you all to park.
Well, there's parking garages downtown, but there's also a ton of street parking. So as long as you're getting there early, it'll give you enough time to be calm and find a place. I mean, you have your bike. If you need to ride your bike down and you've parked a little bit further away, that's fine. But if you're getting there early, there's plenty of street parking. There is garages all over the place that you can go park in Hermosa. So there'll be parking, but give yourself enough time to be comfortable and find a spot so you're not rushing at the last minute. Anything else, Meg?
No, sir.
All right. I like when you call me sir. All right. Be safe, strong, maintainable effort. Let's not get too crazy. This is more of a beginner race. So if you're going out there and you're hoping to hold 35 miles an hour, it is a pretty congested course. Just make sure we're always looking out for safety, looking out for other athletes, and we're bringing people into the sport with this Hermosa Beach Triathlon. We want to have an enjoyable experience. So make sure, we want you to have a great race. We want you to leave it all out there, but you're thinking safety first for yourself and for your fellow competitors. Like I said, with the changing of the gears going up, make sure you know your gears. Make sure you've played with your gears before race day, and that you are comfortable changing gears, whether you're changing the big ring in the front or the cassette in the back, and you are comfortable keeping a nice consistent cadence where you're not at a 20 RPM or you're not up at a 200 RPM. It's a good anywhere from the 70 to 90 RPM range, which is a good, consistent, smooth pedal stroke. Just be comfortable changing your gears no matter what terrain you are on. So go and practice that before race day. Like I said, stay right at all times, know your gearing, stay present and focused. The reasons we don't allow ear pods is because we need you present and focused on the process, aware of your surroundings and aware of other riders. Break it down into smaller chunks. Just take it one loop at a time. Your longest bike ride to date is 8 miles, and now you have to go on the race course and race 10 miles. That's fine. You can make it. But if you look at it as big 10 miles, it's much more overwhelming than if you break it down to 1 3-mile loop at a time. Like I said, take that descent back in the transition easy. Don't slam on those brakes at the last minute. Stay on your nutrition, guys. At TriLab, they're going to have gels. Gels are quick burning carbohydrates. Some of you might not be used to taking in sodium. We're burning through sodium here. So if you're not taking in sodium or you're not taking in a carbohydrate throughout the course of this race, there's a chance you could get a little bit dizzy. There's a chance you can get echoed hearing. This is all stuff that's indicative of low carbohydrates, low electrolytes. So you can take a gel on the bike, you can take a gel on the run, and that's going to help you from having a bonk, as we call it in the endurance sport community. We have plenty of live workouts that Tower 26 offers you. You can go to training.tower26.com for more information on that. But the bike, you carry a little more speed on the bike, so there's a little more danger. We just want you to be as safe as you can be from beginning to end. So just stay present the entire time and stay within your ability levels. Think through any action that you make. Transition 2, like I said, get off the bike at the before the dismount line. There'll be plenty of volunteers saying, get off your bike, get off your bike, get off your bike. Slowly come to that dismount line, get off the bike and gingerly run or walk your bike into the transition area to your area where you found that stable object that's not going to move. Run your bike to that same spot that you picked it up from. Rack that bike, take your helmet off, take your shoes off, sit down, put on your socks and shoes. As you run out of transition, you can put on your hat, your sunglasses, and your race belt. You don't have to put it on right at your transition rack. You can grab all that and move out of transition as you're putting that stuff on. Like I said, make it snappy, but think things through. Don't be hasty with it. Run is pretty straightforward. It's just an out and back course, 1.5 miles out, 1.5 miles back. It's completely flat on the strand. It's going to be hot. There's no shade. So if you can throw a visor on, a hat, make sure you have your sunglasses. The finish line is in the sand. It's only about 10 to 15 feet of running, but it gives you that beach feel. But there's not really much to it. I think there are a couple. I think it's 1 or 2 stairs up, right close to the turnaround that you have to look out for. But you can't miss them. We've all climbed stairs in our life, so you're fine with that. But yeah, not much to the run course. It's just some run notes at the beginning. You're gonna feel your legs are gonna feel heavy from swimming and biking. Just give yourself a little bit of time to warm into it. You will find those run legs, but you got to stick with it. Take it 1 mile at a time. Don't get overwhelmed with, oh my God, I got to run 3 miles after swimming and biking. You just run out and you just run 1 mile to the next. Don't worry about what anybody else is doing out there. Just run your race. Stay within your ability levels. There will be a little guy we call the bad wolf telling you to stop and walk. Don't listen to that guy. You can run right through that feeling. And then you want to finish strong with your arms up so those photographers can take the photo and you can send it to all your family and friends for their holiday gift this year, or maybe all your coworkers. Any questions on the run or the second transition, Meg?
Are cell phones allowed? Can I use an old phone as a bike computer?
I don't see why that would be a problem. I think that'd be fine. If that's your bike computer, that's your bike computer. We just don't want you sitting on there talking on the phone throughout the race. Same thing. We need to be present and safe. If you are talking on the phone, a race official, this is USAT officials will be out there and they see you talking on the phone in the middle of the race, they will disqualify you. So if it's a bike computer, it's something that, you just keep in your pocket or whatever, I don't see why that would be an issue.
And please do not do music on an audio level on that phone if you do use it as a bike computer.
That's another reason you get disqualified. Anything else?
No, sir.
All right. Upgrade some stuff you might want to get before race day. Like I said, a wetsuit, you might need to get that extra pair of goggles, race belt, bike fit. They can help you feel better on your bike, because if you're on this bike and something isn't feeling right, if your body's moving the wrong way as you're riding, there's a potential for injury. Correct run shoes. South Bay has a Road Runner Sports where they can fit you for the correct run shoes. You don't want to just go with the sexiest pair of shoes, the best color pink that you like. You need a pair of running shoes that fits your specific feet. Roadrunner has a protocol that they use over there We're not sponsored by them. I just send every single one of my athletes there just to get their specific foot fit for the shoe that fits their foot. You get your gel and hydration at Triathlon Lab, race kit, Triathlon Lab. You can pretty much get anything you need at Triathlon Lab. A bike trainer, if you want to do a little more bike training, if you want to join us for our live triathlon workouts, you're going to need a bike trainer to use inside. That way you don't have to go outside for all your bike workouts. That's something you can get at Triathlon Lab and find out more about at Triathlon Lab. And then we can provide all your triathlon training needs if you want to step up to the next level. This is a bike trainer. It's something you use in your house, your apartment, your garage, that can provide bike training, very safe and a protected environment. And you can really get in some good efforts on that bike trainer. Our athletes use them 2 to 3 times a week, every single week. So that's something you might want to get at Triathlon Lab, and they will give you the Hermosa Triathlon discount if that's something you were interested in. Just have a bunch of resources through Tower 26. If you go to coaching or go to tower26.com, it can point you in any direction from triathlon training to local swim training at El Segundo, Wiseburn Aquatic Center, the Pacific Palisades, the ocean swim workouts. So we pretty much have anything you need for triathlon or endurance sport training, we can provide for you guys. We are the premier triathlon coaching company in Southern California and one of the premier in North America. So go to tower26.com. You can find out more info there. Questions? Anybody want to go over anything we spoke about here? Like I said, if you have a question, there's a good chance someone else has that question. So do not be afraid to ask, and we can cover anything that you want to go over if there is anything. If not, we can end it there, and we will see you either at the clinic this weekend or at the race check-in. Meg, do we have anything?
Yeah, Greg, again, asking what is the typical air temperature at 7 a.m.? So Greg, I would encourage you to look up weather in terms of the advanced weather notices and previous weather trajectory over the past several years.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to say off the cuff, I'd say probably mid-60s, but it warms up pretty quick and it's very exposed course. So you don't want to be wearing a sweater on the bike. You warm up pretty quick.
Yeah. And Charlene asking how many participants can we expect? So the race caps out on 1,000 participants. So I would expect 1,000 of your friends.
Yeah, they will sell out.
Jumping in. Yep.
Anything else anybody wants to go over? All right, Coach Chris, you have anything you want to touch on? Unmute. Can't find it.
So before Chris jumps on, make sure if you would like to come to the clinic on Saturday, you must register. We will put the link in the chat once again, and then Chris, I'll turn it over to you.
Unmuting you, Chris. Go ahead.
You did talk about nothing new on race day. I've noticed the last couple of years that we've had at least 5 or 6 people show up race morning with a bike that's got 2 flat tires and cobwebs. Don't be that person. Get your bike. You've got 3 weeks, I think, ready before this race starts. Get out on the bike this weekend. Get everything that you need. Running shoes, everything, race suit, everything you need this weekend. Don't leave it till the Saturday afternoon, the day before, because things are going to go wrong. So you need to get it organized this weekend, or at the latest next weekend.
That's it. Don't wait till the last minute. You have plenty of resources available. If you need anything, write us contact at tower26.com and we can answer any of those questions. But also, like I said, Coach Chris will be at the Wiseburn Aquatic Center this Saturday, 7 a.m. You guys can join there. The link is in the chat. But hey, guys, it's been a pleasure. Coach Chris, thanks for all the info. Coach Megan, thanks for doing what you do. We look forward to seeing you guys out there for Hermosa Beach Triathlon. Let's go performance prepared. Let's let you guys have the best experience you can have. So join those clinics and come to those pre-race chats on Saturday, the day before the race, August 13th, to ask any last-minute questions you might have. So thanks for joining, guys. Coach Jim, out. I will see you guys soon. Bye.